we were pissing neon green every day.
The big ball of heat in the sky was too much.
I thought there was a bear.
Reality goes, yeah, fresco. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, everybody. What's up, everybody? Welcome to
StouryTime.
StouryTime. Hey, everybody. Welcome to StouryTime with John and Friends. I'm your host, John. Today's guests recently released a new album titled Everything Happens with their band Stacked Like Pancakes. Please welcome my new friends, Kellen, McKay, and Nick Linder. Thanks so much for joining the show, guys.
What's up?
Thanks for having us on, John.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourselves?
I'm Kellen. I write the music. I'm the lead singer and play guitar for the band. I started the band in 2007, way too many years ago.
I'm Nick. I play bass. I sing sometimes, and I also kind of help take care of the back end of things.
Awesome. Very cool. How's your guys' day?
It's good. Tuesdays are like my full day off to like do chores, clean up the house a little bit, do some errands. So mailed out some merch today to some awesome fans, and just pretty chill day for me. What about you?
It is a gorgeous day here in downtown Pittsburgh. The sun is shining. It's that perfect fall temperature. The leaves are starting to turn. This is like my favorite time of year.
Absolutely. Are you in two separate locations, or are you all in? You're okay. Where are you, Kellen?
I'm in Minneapolis, and
Okay.
the band is it's essentially like headquartered here, although some of the band members, including Nick, are not like permanently located here in Minneapolis.
Yeah, I'm permanently located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Very cool. Very cool. How do you feel about those Steelers?
First three games were okay. The fourth and fifth game, not so much.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of pressure on Justin Fields, and Russell Wilson's sitting on the sideline, like licking his chops.
What a waste of money.
Yeah, waiting for Fields to go down.
I'm not a Vikings fan, but holy cow, there is not a single person that could have predicted Vikings going 5-0. It's
Agreed, especially with their offseason. Like it seemed like they were just screwed from the beginning, and then they came out swinging, and now they're the only team that's undefeated?
Kansas City.
Oh, okay, yeah, Kansas City. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, I share the same sentiment, but yes.
I call them Goliath because we just can't seem to beat them, but one day we will.
the NFC has like had some rough past couple of years. I think there hasn't been like a really solid NFC team that everyone's like really afraid of, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
True.
Absolutely. All right.
The Vikings did.
Dude, I can't believe it. Especially with Sam Darnold, of all people, you know.
I know. I was a Sam Darnold hater, and I was so wrong.
Yeah, I mean we all were, I guess, right?
Well, I guess, yeah, true. I in all like fantasy, I do fantasy football in several leagues and just talk so much, and I just have eaten my words entirely.
Yeah, but I mean, this past week he got 4 points in fantasy.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Well,
he got 4 points.
I didn't even know. That's crazy.
Yeah, he got 4 points and they won. Yeah, that's crazy.
I guess
Yeah,
their defense is playing out of their minds right now.
I mean, so is their offense. It's the whole team as a whole is just it's outstanding to watch. Honestly, it's very fun to watch. But yeah, so let's jump into some music talk here. New record's awesome. I love it. It's so fun.
Thanks, man.
It is so fun.
Appreciate that.
What was the idea behind the record? Is there like a story behind any of the songs or anything like that?
Yeah.
Kellen?
So the title track, Everything Happens, that was actually a song that I wrote many years ago. And it was originally called The Car Payment, which makes sense when you listen to the chorus. Until that car payment kicks in, and I just thought in the moment at that time, it was like I remember I had a car payment withdraw from my bank account, and it went into the negative. I was in college and broke, and just like, I went to music. I went to songwriting because that was my outlet. So I wrote this song around the car payment, but then I kind of tabled it You know, not every song that I write, I guess, you know, will make it to a final record. As I tabled it, kept thinking about it, tweaked things here and there. And then I just kind of like was able to look at the song with, you know, years removed from it with a fresh mind and renamed it. And then it became like, well, hang on, I kind of like the idea of Everything Happens, exclamation point specifically being the name of the record. Because I was kind of like poking fun at the 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 saying everything happens for a reason.
Hmm.
Um and well, you know, as if everything happens for a reason, why are all these shitty things happening to me right now? Um and I'm sure many people can relate to that kind of sentiment if you go through a rough patch in life or you know, anything to that. But yeah, so I kind of just, you know, I wouldn't say that the songs are like closely related in any way. It was more just like a collection of the best 6 songs in this case that uh we had available that we all believed that were our best, and we put them on a record.
Yep.
Awesome. Very cool.
Yep.
Do you,
This is the Renaissance album or EP, whatever you want to call it. We released 2 singles
mhm.
in like 21 and 22, and they went over really well. Like we still have a very hungry fan base, but you know, one song isn't enough for our fans. They want more all the time.
We wanted
And
more
so
too. Yeah.
yeah, so we gave the people what they wanted this time around.
Isn't that how it always goes? You get a new song and you're like, but where's the record? You know,
Yeah.
like when you're
Mhm.
a big fan of a band like that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's again, I love it. It's a lot of fun to listen to, and
Thanks, man.
growing up listening to ska back in the day, you know, it's cool that it's like kind of making resurgence. It seems like
It is. It
yes.
is.
So it's very cool to see that you guys are getting the support as well.
Thanks,
Um,
man.
what is the what is the story behind the name? And
The band name.
yes, and what is the perfect number in a stack of pancakes?
That's a great 2-part.
That is a great 2-part. Most people only ask the
Just-
first.
yeah.
Ask the first one.
So the story is that you know, I especially like middle school going into high school, I idolized Real Big Fish and Less Than Jake and Streetlight Manifesto, Big D and the Kids Table. I looked up to these bands. I saw one of my first shows was a ska show. I saw Big D and the Kids Table at Record Theater in Towson, Maryland. I'm from Maryland originally.
Mhm.
Um and I fell in love with the kind of like sort of, well, I mean, yes, they're a ska punk band, but it was a very punk scene, punk vibes in the crowd and people moshing. And I just remember uh just so badly watching them and wanting to be them. So anyway, with that love for ska came I guess an awareness of all these, like, when you think about it, really weird, obscure band names. It just seems like an unspoken tradition in the
Mhm.
world of ska music. And we just, you know, idolizing these bands, we wanted to follow it. We wanted to be like them. So of course we should have a weird band name. So basically all we did was we picked 3 letters, and in this case that I sort of like envisioned um what are 3 letters that you know, if we were to ever have an encore, people in the crowd would chant and just like SLP, or it started out like and then just became, we just picked SLP, and then we picked 3 words, random words to fill in
Mhm.
for the letters, and it just went from, if we, it was like maybe the second or third choice, and we were like, okay, that's it, let's go do some ska now. It, that's
That's
it.
awesome.
That's a
That's
story.
great. That's a great story. I mean, honestly, not everything has to have this like, you know, elaborate story behind it, but that's cool.
No, and it's a great band name because it gets people see that and they're like, "Oh, pancakes," and they want to check it out. Literally. So I wasn't in the band at this time, but there's a music conference in Lancaster, Pennsylvania that Stacked Like Pancakes was playing at, and Kevin Lineman, the Warp Tour guy, just so happened to be there,
Mhm.
and he went to go see Stacked Like Pancakes performance, like based on just the name alone,
Yeah.
and
That's
and
awesome.
then put us on Warp Tour.
Yeah,
So
that's amazing. We'll get to that. We will
oh,
get to
sick.
that for
Okay,
sure.
sweet.
Okay.
Oh, but wait,
So
the
stack
second
of
part.
pancakes.
Yes,
Yeah.
second part, very important. I'm gonna say 4.
Yeah, I'm also gonna say 4. That's about as much as I can handle because there's so much carbs in pancakes, so they like fill me up really easily.
I feel that. Yeah.
Getting it
Yeah.
I
through.
agree. 4 was the number that I was
Yes.
thinking in my head as well.
Okay, sweet. We're all 4 pancake guys. I love that. I love that we're all on the same page. We're vibing on the same frequency of the
That's
universe right now.
fantastic.
That's funny. And the follow-up question, pancakes or waffles?
Oh, pancakes all day, bro.
Okay. Okay.
Pancakes or waffles, I am choosing pancakes. But if you put French toast in there, I'm probably gonna say French toast.
That's totally fair. That's totally fair.
What the French toast?
Yeah.
I love that. What are some of you guys' major influences? As far as writing this record, I'll kind of solidify it. What were you listening to at the time while writing this record?
I would say for this record, a lot of we were saying that we went back to our roots, and I listened to a lot of Less Than Jake records and a lot of Real Big Fish records. Like there's a horn line in Your Mom's a Homie, and I remember we were in the studio recording it. I think is it Your Mom's a Homie? I'm mixing up songs now in my head.
Probably.
Think it is. But we were in the studio recording it, and I was like, I remember it was just like, I hope it doesn't come across as like conceited, but it was just like, oh my God, this like sounds like it could be in a Real Big Fish record. Like, do you remember that moment, Nick?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Our recording engineer Brad even said that himself. He's like, this
Yeah.
sounds like you ripped it out like straight from a Real Big Fish song and copied and pasted it. But that wasn't actually the case. Kellen kind of just shit out that horn line.
Right.
I wouldn't say shit it out.
It wasn't like, well, like from what I can remember, like you didn't put like too much thought into it. Like you didn't overthink it.
Okay,
It just kind of.
That's a better way of putting it. But yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah.
didn't put too much thought into it, but in a good way. Like I think
Right.
it's easy as a songwriter to get like too in the weeds with songwriting and try to perfect it and make it over perfected
Mm-hmm.
in a sense. I think I've fallen into that hole plenty of times, just like any other creators or artists. But I was just like, that was the goal. Is like, don't overthink it. This is ska. We want it to be a ska album, and just to be fun and easy to listen to. Don't overthink it, and write this music. Like that definitely was the process. So
Yeah.
I mean, I really just like, I know I've mentioned them several times, but truly Real Big Fish, Less Than Jake, I went back and listened to maybe not their entire discographies, there's a lot there, but a lot of it I listened to just like channel that inspiration for why I started the band to begin with.
That's great. And I think it does definitely kind of shine through a little bit, those influences in the record. You can hear that, and that's awesome. So I was just thinking about this too, is like, it kind of just came to my mind. Ska is cool because it's like, it's so fun. And so I was in like an emo pop punky band.
The traditional, dude.
Yes.
Yes,
Hey.
I've listened to
That's
you
awesome.
guys,
Thanks,
man.
man.
I love the traditional.
Appreciate that. But so where I'm going with that is like, you guys, it seems like when we would write songs, there's almost not necessarily like another motive behind the songs, but it's like, we need to write a song that's sad and how we're feeling and let people know. Whereas it kind of feels like with the ska, you kind of just have that freedom to just do what's fun to you in that moment, and it comes through. And I'm sure like all your songs have meanings and there's stories behind them and everything, and so I'm not taking away from that. I don't mean to do that.
No,
but
yeah.
it's just like, when the horns come in, it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you want to start skanking. It's just,
Yes.
It's fun. It's freaking fun.
Thanks,
man.
Thank you. Like that. You have no idea. Like like, when we're in the studio and recording this, writing this, whatever, it's just like crossing our fingers that it comes out the way we want it to. But at the end of the day, it's up to our fans, supporters, and listeners how they perceive it. But that this is instance where it's being received, I guess, exactly how we wanted it, which is just it's just fucking fun to listen to. And if I rip into an upbeat skanking part on the guitar in one of those songs, all I want is for people in the crowd, people in the pit to start skanking. Um, Whereas we've had some songs like on the last record, our third album, they're not really skankable. I mean, I love those songs, and there's meaning behind all those songs, but it's just not the same. It's different. That's all.
Mhm.
And so we just wanted to go back to that upbeat, happy, fucking fun ska energy.
Yeah, dude. Like right back to the Less Than Jake thing. Like you listen to Less Than Jake thing, like even if you're not a ska fan, like there's a lot of pop punk kids that I know that love Less Than Jake. And I'm saying this as a pop punk kid myself. I've always been a pop punk kid at heart. And so like us being to blend ska and pop punk like together um in the way that we do, I really feel proud of that because there's a lot of bands out there. Like Keep Flying is like one of my favorite bands like to date right now. But same thing, like a lot of people will like mix them in with ska bands, even though they don't have a single ska song. Like they don't have a single part with like an upchuck skanking beat,
Mhm.
but they have like a horn section, but they're a
Right.
pop punk band. I mean,
Yeah.
like if you really boil it down, Keep Flying, I would consider them to be a pop punk band. Where opposed to us, where we do have a lot of the same like parts that make keep flying, but the
Mhm.
verses are ska, the verses are upbeat, kind of similar to like how like Survey Says uh kind of did it before Keep Flying was Keep
Right.
Flying.
Yeah.
When Survey Says did that, they were doing it at a time where ska had been long been dead,
Mhm.
right? And even bands like We're the Union, like they used to be a ska band in 2000s, and then at one point they said, "Oh, we don't want to be a ska band anymore." And they kicked out their horn players and they just went on as a pop punk band for a while.
Mhm.
And just like in the past couple years, they went back to the ska thing, and now they're fully committed to the ska thing, and now they're bigger now than they ever were.
Right.
So, you know, me being a pop punk kid at heart, and I'm also in a pop punk band myself, here in Pittsburgh called Crash Nebula. Shout out Crash Nebula. And
Nice.
we played a show with Keep Flying back in it was part of this last tour, and same thing, like that was like the main feedback. That was like the first show that we played like any of our new songs at before they were released.
Mhm.
And so that was kind of like the test show.
Right.
And that was like a fairly common comment that we would get is like, wow, you guys could really fit in on bills with ska bands, and you guys can really fit in on bills with bands with pop punk bands. And so that's something that I'm very, very proud of.
And I
Yeah, that's
and I
awesome.
wouldn't say that that has necessarily been the objective.
No, it's not. It
But
just happened.
it's happened, and I will also say that we're really proud of it too. That's yeah, that's how you kind of forge your so many bands are blending with different genres these days, and
Mhm.
that's where we kind of forge our own or have our own stamp. And yes, we're a ska band, but we have other elements too.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely. Um,
Great question, John.
Thank you. I'm starting to get pretty decent at this. I feel, and not to toot my own horn, but
You've
You
had some
go.
practice,
You go. You go back. You go back. I was terrible at this, so I'm starting to get the hang
Oh
of it a
man.
little bit. Um, so typically I have people on to come on and share a behind the scenes look of what touring is like as a touring musician, and share some fun, silly, crazy, scary experiences. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. What do you got for me, guys?
Let's get into it. Kellen, you want to go first or should I go first? I got a list over here.
Jesus, you have a list. I don't have a list, but I guess like let's just kind of paint a picture of our tour first.
Yes.
Um going into this tour, and also I should say coming out of the pandemic, prior to the pandemic, I uh um sold our we had a 15-passenger van. I sold it. We had a 12-foot trailer. I sold it. Uh, when the pandemic hit, because it was a big
Not going to be touring anytime soon. So
exactly. So,
True.
coming fast forward to recent years, the band is kind of all geographically all over the country. So the question is, how do we navigate that? But also just vehicles. Like, do I go $30,000 in debt and buy a new vehicle, or do I buy a piece of shit $3,000 van that might break down day one of the being on the road? All of these questions come back up when you have to work a tour. So we're in a SUV, just a big SUV, not even like the biggest SUV. It's like my personal vehicle, actually. It's a Chevy Traverse, and just we rented a U-Haul trailer, which is only a few $100, I think, for like 2 weeks or something around there. So anyway, going into it, we had to be the most cost effective as possible, because we don't have years. COVID happened, and we don't have years of touring experience to build off of. We're essentially, in many ways, starting from scratch. So we're bare bones operations on the road. And so we're in one vehicle, pretty cramped, I will say, and a trailer. And yeah, so that's kind of what it looks like. The way that we go about any tour is, again, to save costs, we try not to ever stay at hotels. We have a lot of lovely, lovely fans and supporters and family and friends, who will put us up for the night. We'll get them into the show for free. They'll put us up for the night, let us crash at their places. Shout out to anybody who has supported us in that way. Let us crash at their place. We love them for that. Anyway, so there was one story. Actually, I did write one thing down. Hang on.
those
Oh,
people are the best, by the way. If you're a person who lets touring bands sleep at your house,
yeah.
shout out you. You are like basically keeping music alive in some capacity.
Especially as touring costs keep going up, like it is.
Yeah.
I've made lifelong friends from that,
Yeah.
So absolutely.
Okay, so I have one quick story, and then I'll let Nick take it away with his list. But in Baltimore, so there's a venue called the Auto Bar. We love the Auto Bar. SLP has played at the Auto Bar probably a dozen times over the years. Different shows. Opened for the Toasters. Played a show with Bumpin' Uglies many years ago. Played with Ballyhoo. Played with so many different bands over the years. We love that venue. It wasn't until recent times that we've played it that we were allowed. I don't know for what reasons. Maybe we're just too young and not good enough, which is understandable. But they didn't open up the green room. I didn't even know that they had a green room at this venue.
Oh God, I know what you're about to say. Oh yeah. Okay.
I didn't even know that they had a green room. So we got into the green room. It's like actually like it's almost built like a townhome. There's like a second level and then a third level, like aside and above the venue. Second level, there's like lounge area, fridge, bathroom. Third level, there's this other lounge area, but the entirety of the walls, all of the walls, are covered in dicks.
Yes. Very, very detailed, elaborate, like artwork, though. It's not just like your average like dick drawing. I mean,
No.
like
The
people
veiniest
spent some
motherfuckers,
time
like
drawing these dicks, dude.
so many cocks on that wall. And and
Dude.
wonderful beauty at Guar Bar in the bathroom.
oh
Brad's showing me a dick pic right now of bar of the Guar Bar. You guys ever hear of the Guar Bar?
Yeah, we went in. Where is that in South Carolina or
South Carolina? Where is that?
Richmond.
Oh,
or
Richmond.
Richmond? That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But that
Wait.
that dick pales in comparison to some of the dicks at Auto
Yeah,
Bar, dude.
we all took pictures. It was art, like truly. But the beautiful thing is that very clearly different artistic styles and all of these touring bands come in with their different approaches to what a cock should look like or shouldn't look like, honestly. And they got just had total freedom to draw whatever they want on the walls. I think we got one. We got a little baby one on there's. I can't remember who drew it, but we
Probably June.
wanted to be a part of it. You know.
Yeah,
So yeah, that was
there's a dick, there's an SLP dick somewhere.
SLP dick.
I think it's a stack of pancakes with like a big cock or something like that. With eyes and like a just holding this big
We should,
cock.
honestly, we should make that a shirt. Let's print it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll go over well.
Yeah. No, so yeah, that's my story. Just a bunch of cocks on the wall.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's Auto Bar.
Baltimore.
Okay. I gotta tell a good story right now. Okay, so this is when I was on tour. I was on tour with my current band back over this past summer. We played a gig at Yonkers Brewing in New York. And we were staying across the border in New Jersey for the night. And I wasn't in the band yet. I was just TMing at the time. And so I was like the responsible. I mean, I don't drink anyway, but like I was just DDing that night. I was driving the band back. We were in a different vehicle with another band from Pittsburgh. And everybody from my band, except for our singer and our guitar player and our guitar player's girlfriend, were in our vehicle, and everybody else had gone back to the hotel like early. And like everyone's fucking piss drunk. Like I have a car full of drunk ass motherfuckers in my car. Okay, so
Nick doesn't really drink.
I don't drink at all. So we're driving back to the hotel. It's fucking 1:30 in the morning, as you do. And we decided, okay, let's stop and take piss. And so we found a Wawa, like a 24-hour Wawa straight off, miraculously, because there's like no public restrooms anywhere in New York. So why the whole place smells like piss. So we get it's true though. So we got into the Wawa, and there's only two urinals. There's three guys, and there's two older gentlemen, probably in their 50s or 60s. I don't know what they were doing there at 1:30 in the morning. They must be partying hard. So we got there, and we're waiting for them to finish up their piss, and yeah, they do that, and they go over to wash their hands, and we kind of walk by them. I'm like feeling awkward because like these old dudes, but my drunk friends, keep in mind, like, this is a guy, our guitar player Mitch, he is a guy who's not shy about his body, like, whatsoever. No shame. He just turns all these, like, a bathroom full of men, and goes, "Hey guys, you want to see something cool?" And drops his pants down, butterscotch style, lifts up his shirt up to his chin, and starts pissing in the urinal. Because everybody knows that one kid when we were in elementary school that had to pull his pants all the way down to his ankles,
Yeah.
and lift his shirt up to take a piss in the urinal. Okay,
That's amazing.
Mitch did this in front of these old dudes. And I just turned to them. I saw their faces, like, try not to look at his bare ass trying to piss in the urinal, and I'm just losing it. I am dying. And we're just talking to each other. We're telling the story to our friends, and they're like, "Yeah, those two guys had a really quiet drive home that night." Did not mention it to each other, did not acknowledge it, but they both knew. But that's my buddy Mitch for you. And oh my God, I even to this day, if I walk in a room, there's an awkward silence, I just go, "Hey Mitch, you want to see something cool?" And we all just crack up. That's like a lifelong memory
That
we'll
is too
have.
funny.
Yeah.
Quick question: sheets or Wawa?
Sheets.
I gotta say Wawa.
You're only
Fuck
saying
you,
sheets
dude.
because you have sheets in
Yeah,
Pennsylvania. Do you
I
have
do.
Wawa and
No.
where are you again?
They don't have
Minneapolis?
shit in Minneapolis, dude. They don't.
We don't
it's
have either of
ass.
those in New York State, or at least in Buffalo.
We don't have either, and it makes me sad. And if I ever come across a shit ton of money, I want to franchise the first Wawa or Sheets, actually, honestly, in the state of Minnesota. But I have some, actually, it goes deeper than touring. I have some like memories of like I used to play baseball when I was younger, and getting hot dog at Wawa with my dad before the game or something like that. I don't know.
Oh, okay. It's a sentimental thing.
It's a sentimental thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So don't shit
I
on. I mean, Wawa.
not to get sidetracked, but I've had that same idea as far as like franchising a restaurant or gas station in Buffalo, but I'm thinking Waffle House. There is none anywhere close. Like I think the closest one's like 3 or 4 hours away.
Yeah, honestly, I think like as far as like food places go, you can go anywhere, any city in the country, as long as you have any food at all open past like midnight,
Mm-hmm.
you'll have drunk people coming in there spending
For
shit
sure.
ton of money. It doesn't even have to be good food. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
because it's like everything, at least here in Pittsburgh, everything's fucking closed by like 10 o'clock now.
Yeah.
Especially since the pandemic and there's like this labor shortage. But like I feel like if you're a place with food open past 12 o'clock, you make
Yeah.
so much money now.
Well, in
So
Buffalo
yeah.
too, our bars are open till 4.
Oh, see, there you go.
So it's like, if you're open after, midnight, there's a lot of places downtown that are. I don't drink much either anymore. But when I did, there's like so many places downtown that, oh boy, they make a killing on on weekends. So
Oh
yeah.
yeah, my hockey buddies were just up in Riverworks.
For the tournament?
Yeah, for the tournament,
Very cool.
and yeah, it's an all night party for the hockey guys.
Absolutely.
Anyway, Kellen, do you want to tell another one? Or should I tell another one?
No. How many do you have though? Actually,
I have a couple. I'm probably not gonna tell them all, but I definitely do like okay, so like not all of them are like funny. Some of them are like wholesome.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so actually this is a keep flying story. Involves keep flying. So not this past tour, 2 tours ago, we did like a little spring run and we did Baltimore and Philly back-to-back nights. We played at the Wrecker, which is like a legendary venue in Towson, Maryland. Uh, and there's this kid and his mom that were front row. This kid's like 11, 12 years old. And he's screaming our lyrics. He's singing, shit, fuck, damn it, damn it. And he's over on my side of the stage. He knows like every word to the song and he loves us, right? Like this kid was going nuts. I was like, we've never had, like, we don't have like kids like that young, like come to our
Yeah.
shows, like ever. So I thought I was pretty sick. And I ended up running into him, meeting him in the show. Yeah, hey man, my name's Gabe. I fucking love you guys. I fucking love Keep Flying. Keep Flying is actually staying at our house later, and this and that. He's like, I didn't know that you guys like brought it this hard live. And so I got talking to this kid, and him and I started going riffing on, and I like a lot of hardcore bands too. And this kid loves hardcore.
Mhm.
Like his dad was in a hardcore band, Thought Control, I think was their name.
Okay.
And they tour all the time. And so we're going off about hardcore bands, and I noticed that he's wearing a 4 Year Strong hat. And so the conversation turned to that. I was like, yo, like 4 Year Strong is my second favorite band behind the story so far. And I told him how I saw Terror with 4 Year Strong and Story So Far on tour like 2015. And he's like, oh, that's so cool. I'm like, this is before you were even born, dude. Like, so he's like, Terror was on that. So anyway, we're boys. To sum up the story, we are boys. Him and his mom end up coming to the show the next night in Philly. I think they live in Delaware, so it's like only an hour drive either way.
Mhm.
So they came to the show. And show in Philadelphia was actually a Sunday on Mother's Day. So
Oh wow.
yeah, his mom spent her Mother's Day taking her son to see us and Keep Flying
That's
play.
a great mom.
And yeah, she's awesome. She's awesome, by the way. If you're listening, Gabe's mom, we love you. And Gabe, if you're listening, we love you. So Gabe was like asking me like what my t-shirt size was because he wanted to give me because he has his own podcast. We've gone on his podcast before and
That's
he interviews like strictly hardcore bands. So we were like honored to be the only ska band to ever be on his podcast. Super nice kid.
What's
super
the name
lively.
of the podcast?
Kids in the Pit.
Awesome.
Called Kids in the Pit. Shout out, yeah, Kids in the Pit. So he's like, well, do you want my hat? And has the same 4-year strong hat. And I was like, no, man, that's your 4-year strong hat. Like, you keep that. Like, that's a relic in that. And John from Keep Flying is over my shoulder. He's just like, dude, like, this kid would not stop talking about you guys. Like, when we got back to the house last night, this kid is all over you guys. He's like, he really wants to give you the hat, dude. Take the hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That's
so I was
awesome.
like, I still have it to this day. I had it on my shelf, but I moved it upstairs. And I had him sign it for me, and it's like one of my prized possessions. And it's like a very wholesome moment
That's so cool. That's
that
awesome.
I had with Gabe. So I'll remember that the rest of my life. And later on that night, so as I said, that it was Mother's Day, right? Um, Unfortunately, Henry from Keep Flying lost his mom a couple years back, and so it was a very emotional day for him. So they get to their last song, and if you ever seen Keep Flying before they play their last song, Surviving the Night, John gives like a little spiel about how like you should survive the night, so to speak, and just keep moving on to the next day. It's a very wholesome like speech, right? And then they go into the song. So John gets done with his speech, and he is ready to play the song, and Henry acknowledges something that actually happened the song before that. At the end of the song they played before this one, the owner of the venue, or some lady who worked there, she had this like box of confetti and there was like a set of steps that went all the way to the where the top of the stage was. And as the song ended, she would like, drop the confetti and it would rain down on the crowd. And so like if you're on stage, you can't see like that someone's doing it. Like we could see out from the crowd, but it's like a little magical like little moment. And it's like a Sunday afternoon like chill show on Mother's Day. Nice crowd too. And so right after John gives his speech, Henry acknowledges that confetti thing, and he goes like, I know that was a real person that went up there and did that and dropped that confetti, but for some reason I can't get it out of my head that was my mom that did that.
Yeah.
Because she loved me for every part of me, and I don't love every part of me, and she taught me that I should love every part of me. So when that confetti came down, like I really appreciate you guys being here for this moment with me, and it was a very, very wholesome moment that I'll never
Absolutely.
forget. And
I
this
cried.
like, yeah, me too. Like to see Henry like be vulnerable like that, like it was just like a dream come true, because they're a band that I idolized for a long, long time. Like Keep Flying is one of the reasons why I wanted to be in a band at all in the first place. And to like share that moment with Henry and the band, I don't know. That's like a lifelong memory I'll always have.
That's great. That's a great story. I love that.
Yeah, man. Shout out Henry if you're listening. We have a song called Castaway with Henry. It's the second song on our record, and it was arguably one of the most well-received Stacked Like Pancake songs to date.
I love that.
So
Very cool. Shout out Henry. I gotta have him
yeah.
back on too. They were just recently here, and I think we do have plans to have a couple of them back on pretty soon. So
Hell yeah, we would love to get another show with Keep Flying. If you guys are listening,
That did
let
kind of remind me of a really quick story.
Mhm.
When you were talking about Gabe, when we played this last tour, when we played in Chicago, at Reggie's Live, it was a 21 plus show, and there were
which we like never do.
we did it because we had to. We didn't have a choice at that venue.
Right.
Because we do have some younger fans. But anyway, there were these two young guys that came together. Turns out one was 21, one was 20, I believe. And they just shot their shot basically at being able to get in. The door person was adamant, and obviously respectful of that. Nobody's going to try and sneak them in or anything. But they didn't just like walk away and go home. Like there's like basically a garage door opening that leads out to the
street,
street,
the sidewalk. Yeah.
And those kids were outside dancing harder than anybody inside for our entire set.
Yes, they didn't take a single song off. And mind you, they had been standing there the entire show, like through the first two opening bands too.
Yep.
So like their legs are probably like pretty tired at this point.
Mhm.
And they were out there going hard, for every
I remember
single
the name.
song.
But shout out to those guys. God, that was just awesome. Like I remember from the stage just seeing
Hmm.
them out there. And then when we went out and talked to them after the show, they were drenched in sweat.
Drenched, yeah.
So hard.
That's
Like
awesome.
Moshing with each other, like
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Oh my God, it was
that's awesome.
fantastic. And that's, we need that energy, whether it's in the venue, outside the venue. We feed off of that, and that was just
hell
fantastic.
yeah. Oh, that was on my list, Kellen, the Chicago Sidewalk Kids.
Nice.
That's awesome. Can I request to hear something?
Yes.
I want to hear about the Warped Tour experience and how you guys got it. You kind of touched on it a little bit. I want to hear a little bit more of how
Yeah,
that
let's
came
get
about.
into it. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Kellen.
So that goes back to so we did in 2014 Ernie Ball year to year, and when Ernie Ball started sponsoring, being like a co-sponsor, they started doing the Ernie Ball Battle of the Bands.
Mm-hmm.
And we submitted for the Merriweather Post Pavilion, which is in Columbia, Maryland. The Merriweather or the Columbia date of the Warped Tour. We submitted for it, and then there's like a long period of time after you submit, you have to like get everybody to like vote for you. And we did all that, told all of our friends, family to vote for us, did all of that, put their work in. Fast forward just a little bit, and we attended and performed at this I guess relatively small music conference and festival in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And that is where we met the founder of the Warped Tour, Kevin Lyman. And we also met somebody who was I think like a panelist or like a adjudicator of some sort for selecting the bands who win the Ernie Ball Battle of the Bands. Lou Playa. And he actually founded or co-founded Reverb Nation. He sold it recently, but that's kind of his background. So we met kind of these two key characters. We had a one-on-one session with Lou, talked about the band, and we had a brief interaction with Kevin Lyman after one of his panels, and he said, he was hyped on ska and hyped on our band name, like Nick said before, and wanted to see us. He did. I actually, like, as I was talking to him, saw him put our set time and stage in his phone, and I was like, oh my God, this guy's actually like, he might legit actually come see us play.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. We were on this baby stage outside. We actually like killed the power on the stage. We were rocking too hard, like shook the stage, the power shut off. And he just thought that was awesome. He came up to me while the poor sound guy was like,
Probably the worst night of
I
his life.
know, like but but we love you for it, whoever that is out there, because it ultimately led to Kevin Lyman coming up to the stage while some guy was like tearing his hair out trying to figure things out. Kevin Lyman came up to the stage and he said, I'm gonna push you guys. I don't know for how many days, but I'm gonna put you guys on the Warped Tour. And then we played that date. They ended up announcing us as a winner for the Ernie Ball stage, and we ended up playing that date at the Vans Warped Tour in Columbia, Maryland. And we
That
just
is
maintained,
incredible.
right? I mean, it's in Lancaster, Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
an Amish town.
You never know, dude. Because it's crazy because the next year in 2015, he had Stacked Like Pancakes back, and I was just a casual Warped Tour attendee fan at the time.
Okay.
And Stacked Like Pancakes was grinding at the time, and I had no idea who they were. Right, I was not in the band at this time. I was going to Warped Tour, and I was waiting in line to get my ticket scanned, and there's these goofy, quirky guys out in the lines to get in, and they're playing Super Mario Bros with their trombone, their trumpet, and their two trombones actually, and they had big signs hung around their neck that said "Stacked Like Pancakes, 1:30 p.m. Skull Candy Stage."
Brilliant marketing.
Brilliant marketing. I was like, all right, sold. I was like, there's horns in one of the bands at Warped Tour, and that never happens, right? Because this was 2000. There's no ska bands on Warped Tour since like the early 2000s. So I was like, fuck yeah, finally, there's a ska band on Warped Tour. And so I went and saw it, blown away. Like from the first song until the very last, like the energy never stopped. The crowd was into it. And like most people had never even heard of that band before, but they were there and nobody left. I didn't see anybody leave during the set the entire time. And so that like stuck with me. And I went home from Warped Tour that day saying, I'm gonna start a ska band. That's what I want to do. Like, because there was so many pop punk bands, like the market, even still, like
Yeah.
it's just saturated with pop punk bands everywhere. So if you want to be one, like it's a steeper hill to climb. But I was like, if I could make like a pop punk ska like hybrid band, then maybe I could, sneak. That's how I'm gonna be different in the pop punk scene.
Mhm.
So started my own ska band when I was in college called Solios. And we had just been playing shows around our college town in California, Pennsylvania. It's about an hour 15 minutes south of Pittsburgh. And we hadn't really played a big show in the city. And um, we were just starting out, just recording our first EP, trying to take ourselves seriously, quote unquote, as like a local band. I remembered the Stacked Like Pancakes set from the summer prior, and we had just like had our first like full band recording like at a performance. I sent a recording of that performance to the band page, to the Stacked Like Pancakes band page. I was just to see if anybody would respond. And I was like, "Hey man, we're a brand new ska band here in Pittsburgh, and we just want to get your opinion on our music. Just tell us like what you think of us. Not asking for anything at all, because like I hate doing the groveling shit. Like I feel like such an asshole. So I would just like trying to see if anybody would respond. And Kellen responded like pretty quickly actually and said, and we had an auxiliary percussionist at the time. And he said something. He's like, "Yo, I really appreciate the extra auxiliary percussion because I was a percussion major in college." And I was like, "Oh fuck yeah!" He responded. Number one, I got a real Warped Tour band to respond to me. I was hyped on that.
Hell
Number
yeah.
two, like we had this little like rapport back and forth, and that led to, "Hey, we're coming to Pittsburgh in May. Do you guys want to open for us?" And that was a huge deal for us at the time as like a local band. We're like, "Yeah, this is our first real show where we're opening for a real band that was on Warped Tour." Got to be great friends with Kellen and the gang, and stayed friends, stayed in touch, played together multiple other times after that. And the day came like years later where Kellen's like, "Hey man, I need a bass player. Are you available?" And that was it. Like, and here I am to this day. So if it wasn't for me going to Warped Tour, like seeing Stack, I wouldn't even know who Stack Like Pancakes is.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was a combination of the very long-winded, but that's how important Warped Tour is to us, to the point where in 2019 they asked us to play at the Atlantic City Festival, which was like a 2-day thing. Like we played the same day as Man Overboard and Story So Far, and like our names up there next to all my favorite Warped Tour bands. And it was just fucking dream come true, unreal.
That's
Like
awesome.
it was always my dream to play Warped Tour, and that particular Warped Tour was on the beach.
Very
Like,
cool.
and we had our line signing. Like we said after our set, we're like, "Hey, we're gonna be over by our merch table. If you want to come get a picture with us, come and get a picture with us." And our set ended at like 1:30. Our signing was immediately after our set until like 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow.
We had a line going I couldn't see the end of the line. That's how far down the beach that it went. And I was like, "Is this all for us?" And somebody said, "Yeah, we're all waiting for you." People were waiting for like probably over an hour to get a fucking picture with us.
Very cool.
I I wanted to go see The Story So Far so bad because they're my favorite band of all time. And I was like, "Fuck, is this line gonna get out?" Like in my head, I was like soaking up this moment, but I
Yeah.
also had this like inner anxiety, like, "Fuck, am I gonna miss The Story So Far?" And my girlfriend was with me at the time, and she said, like, "Nick, like, I need to go see The Story So Far." I'm like, "If you need to step out, like, you can go ahead. Like, if we get done, I'll meet you over there, this and that." And so she went and saw The Story So Far, who played like a 45-minute set that day. She came back, the line was still fucking going, dude.
That's
So
wild.
I miss my favorite band, but like that experience, I don't know, it was worth
I
it.
want to
That's
say
worth it
too,
for sure.
it's kind of humbling. Not kind of. It is humbling because all of those people waiting in line for autograph photos, it's just to meet us, etc. They are also missing some of their other favorite bands.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
You know, that is it, that in itself is just incredible and just one of the many amazing things about the Vans Warped Tour, which is
That was the best Warp Tour of all time, in my opinion. The very
Very
last
cool.
one. And now it's
Yeah.
going to come back, apparently, quote unquote.
Yeah, that's dude, you guys gonna be on it?
Well, I don't think Kevin has anything to do with it anymore, so probably
Okay.
not. Like the
Okay.
whole reason we were on it was because of Kevin in the first place. So yeah.
yeah, well, I wouldn't say it doesn't have anything to do with it. We don't know that for sure, but
Mhm.
I think I basically like Live Nation, I think, is kind of taking on operations, but Kevin, I think, is going to be involved in
If
some
Kevin, if you're listening, if you can get us back on, at least even for one more show. I know it's like asking a whole lot because you've already done so much for us. Like, I don't know. Even if we never played it again, like I'm still so satisfied being like,
Lyman, longtime listener of the story time
Yes.
podcast,
Yes.
yeah.
That's what I'm laughing at. The fact that you think
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
listening to my podcast.
I'm sorry. Your
Uh,
podcast is great. I
no.
yeah, yeah, okay,
I
yeah.
did not take offense to that. I
Okay,
did not take offense to that whatsoever. We have fun. Okay. Favorite tour experience you guys have had?
Oof.
Ooh, can I go first?
Yeah, please.
Okay, so we blow my own mind all the time how we're able to make something out of nothing a lot. And just for a quick example, like we played this sports bar in like
Oh,
bumfuck Iowa.
yeah.
And we get there, super big stage, super nice place, and they don't have a PA system. There's no PA system.
Oh,
And
wow.
we're like, what's going on? Where's the sound guy? We're like, we don't have one. We thought you guys were bringing that. And so Kellen and our old guitar player Steve had to like pack up our shit and haul ass at the time to like a guitar center down the road and like rent a PA, and we just ran it out of our X32, like our in-ear rack, like
Mhm.
as a thing. And they're like, oh yeah, can you guys also play till like 1 a.m?
Oh.
And can you not start? Yeah. And so we're just like thinking cover song after cover song. What do you guys know? What do you guys know?
Never
And we made it through the whole set. Like,
never
That's
played any
wild.
of these songs together. I hopped on drums, never played half of the songs, or
mhm.
I mean, I probably played some of them, but not in
Not
many,
together. We didn't practice
and
them
not
at all.
let alone together. And
Yeah.
we fucking pulled it off somehow.
That's
It's
wild.
like sheer
Yep.
adrenaline,
And
honestly. I
the
think,
guy was happy and he paid us and we
yeah.
returned. Yeah, the rental paid for itself and it worked out. So later on in that tour, I think like a couple dates later, we were playing in Oklahoma. Okay. El Reno, which is sort of closest to OKC, I think. But yeah, it's out there in Oklahoma. So same thing, this bar, apparently this lady who owned it, it was like her life savings into this bar, right? And it's 21 plus strictly, which was an overlook on our part because our tour manager, our trombone player, and our drummer were all under 21 at the
Oh,
time.
wow.
Yeah, there was a miscommunication between our agent and the venue.
Anyway, yeah, we tried to like get it like a court thing signed, like in and out.
Tried
Like
last
it was
minute. Well, we had to get, yeah, we looked up like state documents to get authorization.
yeah, dude, we tried
We
everything.
we looked up if we could get what's it called when you, oh, notary, if we
A
could get
notary, yeah, to
over,
get
like it was,
not budging though. Like it was not happening. Like
they
they told us like they are not allowed like inside at all. So we're like, well, what the fuck? Like, what are we gonna do? And like we didn't want to not play because like
Mhm.
people paid money to come out and see us. And awesome opening bands, by the way. Joker's Republic, they're from there's a band from New Jersey there. They're awesome. And a band called The Big News, that was local and they killed it. And so we're like, fuck. So every band before us was so fucking good. And now the pressure's on. Okay. So
Mhm.
we're like, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? So we decide, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Kellen is going to hop on drums. Steve and I, the guitar player and I, we're gonna take turns singing the songs and try to remember as much lyrics as we can. And Kellen was going to sing as much as he could from back on the drums, but
Mhm.
Which,
that's
by the
not.
way, I play drums, zero experience singing and playing drums at the same time.
Yes, yes. So, and our trumpet player was 21, so she was able to play with us. Thank God we had at least one horn there. So, it was the first time that Stacked Like Pancakes had a singer other than Kellen singing the songs live. And like
Wow.
I had to remember all the parts. I think I flubbed up a couple of words and it
Oh,
became like an inside joke. But
yeah.
uh so and then we played like Sell Out by Real Big Fish, and same thing as the sports bar show. We would like try to like, okay, what do you know? Like what can we play? And it was like all on the spot, like, and the crowd was loving it. Like it was ended up turning up to be like one of the better shows like
I
on the
guess
whole
like
entire tour.
that tour as a whole, going back to your question, that tour was like that tour, I think, coming again, that was like the first thing we did coming out of the pandemic, and that was like almost like a are we alive still as a band tour.
Mhm.
Yes.
And that tour with the DIY grind, the figuring the shit out last second, all of that for half the shows, and just the completely different. We played a house show one day, and then a very professional music venue. Well, house show like DIY. I don't mean like unprofessional, but you know what I mean. And
Yeah, it
then
was a basement show.
it
Yeah.
was a basement show, and then a music venue, proper music venue the next day. It was like all over the place, but that tour still was successful, and that cemented that, like, yes, we are still here and we can still keep doing this. And so I think, yeah, that has to be one of my favorites for sure. But in terms of just sheer success, this last run that we did, the Everything Happens tour, um
Unreal.
and the
Unreal.
reception that we've had for that record has been insane. And the streaming numbers are unparalleled to anything we've ever released, and people are still listening to it a lot, and we
Yeah.
wait to get back out there and do it again.
Every show of the tour was packed out. Keep in mind, we had like the best local bands from every single city play too.
Right.
And they also had killer followings. They sold killer tickets. Every opening band we played with was awesome. Like and we did that on purpose. We did that by design. But Kellen and I both agreed like this has been the most successful SLP has ever been, just from this one record in this tour alone.
That's
So
awesome. That's awesome to hear.
very proud of this group. Very proud to be a part of it.
Well deserved. Very well deserved. It's
Thank you.
so are you guys, it's cool that you guys are having a lot of locals play on these tours too, because that's not a thing much anymore.
For us, it is.
Like but a lot of these tours that are coming through, like in Buffalo specifically, like there might be one opener from Buffalo, and you just don't see it that often anymore. So very cool.
Man, yeah. I mean, I book touring bands in Pittsburgh. I'm a promoter myself here.
Mhm.
And like a lot of the touring bands that come through Pittsburgh, like they don't have any fan base here whatsoever. So it's like a trade shows kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'll put them on with like a very strong local, and the local will sell tickets, and
Yeah.
those fans will be, they'll like the touring band, and then they'll return the favor.
Mhm.
And trying to do that in Buffalo, by the way, wink wink. And so
Dude, I
that's
have no pull in Buffalo anymore. It's crazy.
no, you're good. No, you're
I'm
good.
so far removed. I'm sorry.
You're good, man. So when we booked the whole tour, that was kind of the idea behind it.
Yeah.
Let's have the best local bands from every single city, whether they're ska bands or pop punk bands or whatever. And those communities are awesome. That just goes to show like how strong the DIY community has come back since the pandemic,
Right.
in every city across America too. So kudos to Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Chicago, Detroit, Youngstown, Ohio, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore.
Very cool. What's your favorite city to play?
Oh, Baltimore.
Okay.
Just the crowd, like it's a different crowd, 'cause that's where the band started. And that was the one show on this whole tour that was like every song start to finish there was people moving. It was bonkers. The entire set. And we're feeding on from the literal big dick energy up in the green room from all over the walls, coming off of that too.
Kellen,
I mean,
does that still feel like a hometown show?
Yeah, it does. So we had when I say magical, there was a moment at the end of the show we kind of have like a little shtick where not for every show, but if the vibes are right, then we'll say, look, we don't have an encore planned. We're not playing an encore.
Mm-hmm.
And we use that as like a fuel for people to like go all out for the actual last song.
Right.
This is the last chance. So we did that. That was our shtick. We did it. We played SFDD, which is our longtime closing song now. And we went off stage, and they did
They weren't taking that for an answer.
not adhere to our our
No.
call for that to be the last song. They kept chanting, and we were actually backstage, like trying to like panicking a little bit, figuring out, like pointing to each other, do you know this song?
Yeah, same thing. What do you do? What do we do? What do we
Yeah,
do?
what do we
You
do?
know, I was getting flashbacks to Oklahoma, dude.
And then
Yeah.
Nick actually said, everybody joined in, like, you got to do Money Sucks, which is just an acoustic song. We didn't have an acoustic. I just did it on electric, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I went back on stage, and they kept cheering and went crazy, and I cried. Like I fucking cried on stage. So and I remember too at a point in the set saying, like, so the band Stacked Like Pancakes is now based in Minneapolis. And then I said, but we're from here. We're from here. And then they went crazy. And that kind of, I think, was evident of it. Yes, it feels like a hometown show. Even though the band is kind of moved geographically, like Baltimore is still the heart and core of Stacked Like Pancakes for sure.
Very
I
cool.
agree.
I love that. All right. Well, I think we're gonna start winding down here. Is there anything you guys want to share before we do? Anything else?
Anybody local to Minneapolis area? We met our new friends, Mustard Plug in Pittsburgh at
Oh yeah.
Steel City Ska Fest. And then their agent reached out, and the promoter reached out and wanted us to open for them again in Minneapolis. So anybody local to that area, come out to the show December 7th, as we're going to open for a killer show with Mustard Plug again. And the Prize Fighters are also a great band on that bill too.
Great Minneapolis band.
Um,
So John, actually, I know sometimes in your podcast you have a little section where you ask, hold on, let me like if you have a tour game, any tour games that we
Yes.
play.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Let's hear it.
So we don't have like an official game, but
Okay.
this kind of spilled over from my last tour with my other band, and
Okay.
so same night that the pulling down the butterscotch piss story and at Wawa. Immediately when we got back in the car, our singer Shane called our other bandmates that were at the hotel waiting for us, and our guitar player Jake, who was on the other end of the line, he kept calling Shane back because he kept hanging up on him drunk, and he would go, "Yo, Shane," and Shane would be like, "What?" And Jake would go, "What are you doing right now?" Because for some reason that was like the funniest thing, because like Jake's like a really goofy dude. So even if he knows what you're doing, he'll ask that on the phone. He'd be like, "Yo, what are you doing right now?" And so I started doing that to Kellen, like very early on in this tour. And then I did it to June, our trumpet player. And then
we ended up just like getting each other with it. It's so we would like
yeah, if that became the game, is to like, be like, "Hey, Kellen," and be like unsuspecting, what are you doing right now? And then like if you get like if you get with one of your band members with that, like you felt so good. Yeah, right, to the point where like at Baltimore, like I did it on stage, like to Kellen, and the rest of the band, everybody's cracking the fuck up on stage, and the audience is like looking at each other, scratching their heads. They're like, "What?" So we're like, it's an inside joke. Like every band has their inside jokes and shit. Like this was our inside joke, inside game is, "Hey, what are you doing right now?"
That's funny.
Yeah.
That we did a tour with we did a full US with our friends in A Fortune and Fame from Syracuse, New York. And it was 9 dudes, 1 van pulling a trailer. We all went in the same van.
God.
And
What
the
did that
van
smell
broke
like?
down on day 1. And that was it was 60 days. Okay, just
Oh,
so for a little
no.
insight. But we played a lot of tour games as well. But so one that was kind of similar to like what you just explained is the game.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like I never really quite understood it other than like I didn't care at first and then eventually be like, you know, like you spend so much time with these dudes over time, you're like,
That
I
is
just, hey
that is-
John, what's up? I just lost the game. Fuck, you know, like God.
that's actually the same vibe. That is a perfect.
Exact same vibe.
Exactly,
Yes.
yeah. It's like, why do I care? I don't know, but now it's a thing, kind of. Yeah, for sure. I love that.
Yeah. What are you doing right now?
And kind of brotherhood and family that brother and sisterhood and family that comes of touring is just is amazing. It's an amazing thing.
Lifelong memories. Like you'll come back and you might be broke as shit and you you know, and you didn't financially do that well on tour, but you have, you know, more riches than you can count in memories and lifelong friends that you'll make. So
Absolutely.
I recommend it to anybody.
Yes. Guys, it's been a blast. I really appreciate you coming on the show. I'd love to have you guys back because I feel like there's so much more that we could talk about.
Dude, we'll have to do a part 2.
Absolutely.
We'll have to do a part 2.
I'd love to.
Let's do
But
it.
yeah, so anything else you guys got going on? Anything you want to promote? Now's the time.
Join us on our Discord server. You go on our website and there's a link to join our Discord server. That's where like we call it the Pancake Nation. We all hang out. We have chat rooms, we have memes, and we play a lot of Fortnite and Roblox and tons of video games with the fans. And it's just like a great community hangout spot that we have. And we haven't done it a lot recently since we've been so busy with touring and stuff, but we do like to stream on our Twitch channel. But if you want notifications for that, we always say our Discord's the best place to go. So yeah, shout out our Discord. And shout out John from the StouryTime podcast for having us on. Yeah, make sure you go give him a follow because I hope I can clip this out and post it in our Discord. And we'll make sure because our community is very they're a very active community, and anybody that we promote on there, they're all about it. If we think it's cool, they think it's cool. It's the cool kids thing. So
That's awesome. I appreciate that. Guys, I really appreciate you coming on again. I'd love to have you back. We will do it again soon.
let's do it.
Yeah, anytime you guys got anything going on, you want to come on, let me know. Everybody, thank you so much for sticking around, listening to the podcast, watching the podcast. Everything they've got going on will be down below in the description. Give the record a listen. I promise you'll love it. It's a great record. Go see them on tour. Pick up the record. Do whatever you can to support these guys. They're good people. Yeah, we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Bye, bitch.